Good morning. My name is Robin and I'd like to welcome you to my garden. I am a hobby gardener here in Northern California. I have a home that is in a small subdivision. I like to approach my gardening by small spaces. Sometimes if I look at the whole thing, I get quite overwhelmed. So having a small space approach helps me focus in an area, or if I get some inspiration, it helps me develop the area. Up front here, I have some lamb's ear, a drift of that. Behind that, I have pink cone flowers, which have been in the ground a couple years. Behind that, I have Spire euonymus. This is a hedge that spans across the length of the garage wall. It provides evergreen interest. If I drop back down here, I have a flowering Astromeria, or some may call it Peruvian lily. The flowers are just gorgeous with the yellow throats and a little bit of ruffle on the petals. Behind that, I have bee balm, which is not in bloom right now. I've recently planted the Razzleberry fringe flower tree. It's a patio size tree, so its green area or canopy will fill in that space. Down below that, I have Swan River daisy, which is bordered up in the front by white alyssum. And then if we span back here, I have worked on some ground covers. This light chartreuse green ground cover is Angelina Stonehedge. It takes more sun. I've actually propagated that from another area in my garden. Behind that, I have Lamium. It requires much more shade, and there's a little point in this flower bed right along here that is shadier than the rest of the garden. So there's a break in the garden, let's see, right in here, that is more shade to the right, and to the left is sun. Then I have a hydrangea backed by one of my favorite grasses, a Hoya Gold. I just love this grass, and it adds a bright pop of color to the garden over here. I have a boxwood in the pot. In the back, which is recently added, is a panicle little lime hydrangea tree. That seems to be doing well. It's only been in the pot about a month. I put it in a pot to make sure it would get enough sun. Then as we walk around back here and you enter my porch area, I have a couple boxwoods. One is formed in a topiary tree. The other one I just formed into a little sphere. And as you come over around the corner, this area is mostly shade. So in the front, the little white flowers are impatiens. Behind that, I have a pop of color of some Heuchera electrica. I believe that's what it's called. Behind that is an evergreen fern. When I look for ferns, I try to get evergreen to maintain some winter interest as well as some color to soften the area. Then I have a little button fern here. I think there's different varieties of button ferns. Then if I span up and show you this chartreuse blossoms on this hydrangea are just gorgeous. I've always loved the green blossoms. You pan down here and we continue on to a small pocket of shade, which I've continued on with the impatiens. And then back there is another small hosta, a couple evergreen ferns. And then if you look down, I can see my small bird bath, and this is a view from one of my bedroom windows, which I thoroughly enjoy this view. Thank you for joining me in my garden today. Please drop any comments or questions that you may have. I love to communicate with anybody who is learning to work in their garden, who loves to work in their garden and has a passion for it. I learn from others and just enjoy talking about and sharing about the topic of gardening. Have a great day, and I hope you get into your garden today. Thank you for joining me.